What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Night Shift. I'm your host, as always, Zach Hernandez, and today I got my guy Garrett on the show. What's up, Garrett? How are we doing today, man?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me on. Been a long time since we tried to get this going.
I know it has been, dude, but I'm super stoked to have you on. I think it's great timing considering you're a Kings fan, I'm a Warriors fan, and we got a pretty crazy game tomorrow night. So I'm excited for that. So I think we're going to have some good conversation today, but it should be a good time, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
So the first thing that I kind of wanted to get into, well, actually, before that, I'm going to ask you one or two questions.
Yeah, go for it.
And obviously, I just said that you're a Kings fan and you got the Kings jersey on. It's funny because right before the show, I was just dressed in my normal attire, a little flannel and a t-shirt. And then Garrett comes in with, he walks in with the Kings jersey on, like right before we were about to record. And I was like, man,
We
that's
got
a
to
good
wear the
idea.
jerseys, right?
Good idea. Man, Garrett was thinking. So I walked out, had to pull out the Klay Thompson jersey because we're going to see a big Klay game tomorrow. But I think that was a good call. So we got Kings and Warriors tomorrow night. But I just want to ask you a couple questions just before so the fans out there can know who you are.
Yeah, man.
And as a basketball fan. So obviously you're a Kings fan, but you also are a fan of another team. So what are your favorite teams and where did that kind of come from?
Yeah, I'm a cheater fan. I've got the. I mean, I think a lot of people do this, but like with the team that you follow when you're a kid, because you kind of a lot of times you just like a player or whatever. So when I was a kid, I'm from closer to Sacramento, and the Kings came into Sacramento in the 80s, and they weren't very good for the first like 10 years they were in Sacramento. So nobody that I knew really jumped on the Kings bandwagon at all in the first 10 years they were there. And then in the early 90s, Shaq was a big deal. So I became, and this is why I've got my other jersey when we start talking about Orlando, but I became an Orlando fan. And
Nice.
Shaq and Penny, I think if I had to say honestly, I think because my brother's a big Kings fan, I talk about the Kings more often. But I think honestly, the Orlando's probably my team. Like if they played, I told you before, I'd have an aneurysm if they played in the finals. It's never going to happen, but
Yeah.
if that happened at some point, I don't know what I would do because I'd want to root for the Kings with my brother, but then I'd want to see Orlando. I don't know what I'd do. So I'm a cheater. But I got my East team and I got my West team and it works. And they've never been good at the same time. So it's always been like whoever needs to win more. That's kind of what I've leaned towards. So, but Hardaway's my favorite player ever. Shaq's one of my favorite players ever. McGrady, I think if you went down the list, I think I got like 6 Orlando guys that I would say are my favorite players. And then maybe, a couple of Kings guys like Mitch Richmond and Jason Williams, Chris Webber, those guys. So, yeah.
There you go, dude. Yeah, I was going to ask you who your favorite players are. That's funny because, I mean, I kind of thought that maybe towards the beginning of the year, the Magic were kind of on fire and the Kings still were looking solid. So I thought maybe, this could be possibly a year where they're both good at the same time.
I
And then
don't
the
think
Kings
anyone so I don't talk to anyone about Orlando because I mean we're in the Bay Area, right? So like nobody around here cares about Orlando. I don't even know any Orlando fans personally. When I saw you wearing a Hardaway jersey,
Yeah.
I freaked out. Like, is there another Orlando fan around here? So I don't ever talk about Orlando, but like listening to all the podcasts and stuff, I don't think anybody thought they were going to be, like last week at one point, it was like, dude, could they pull off the 2 seed? Like they were before, I think the last 10 games of the season, it was like, this is possible for them to do that. Now would have just been like way outperforming any predictions, right? Because I had kind of said at the beginning of the year, I'm like, dude, it'd be nice they get the 6 seed, avoid the play in. But I was thinking play in for them. So the fact that they're the 5 already, that's awesome. I thought it would have been great if they could have held on to the 4, just so they could host. But and then the Kings, of course, I've been saying all along, like this was never going to be their year. I knew that Mike Brown was going to try to, go for the defense a little bit more because their defense was so bad last year, but their offense was awesome, and that obviously was an issue. So I knew that this year it was going to be, what do we have? Because they weren't going to blow it up after one, first round exit. So it's like, all right, they're going to run it back with all the same guys.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows Harrison Barnes is what he is. Like he's going to play every night, but he might disappear some nights. And then I don't think any of us thought Kevin Huerter would fall off the way that he did, but
No.
it just wasn't. And then Keegan Murray, honestly, even though his offense took a little bit of a step back this year, I thought Keegan on defense was great. So I think next year is kind of, I've been saying all along, next year is kind of like, all right, if you're going to have a window, Sabonis is going to be, I think, 28. Fox will be 26 or 27. It's like, all right, that's the window where the Warriors, when Curry was, I think, 27, 28, that's kind of the window they started to dominate, right? So I'm like, look, if they're going to make a deep run, I don't think that this was ever going to be their year. So hopefully next couple years, maybe they can make a deep run. I mean, I'd love to see them get to the finals, even if they weren't going to
Mhm.
win it. I'd love to see them get that far, just because Kings have never gotten that far,
Yeah.
even though they should have. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, anyways, yeah.
Couple, yeah. Good call. Couple moves away, maybe. It probably won't be this year where you make it, but hey, it's still alive. It's still on the table.
I
So
mean, okay.
we can't rule it out yet, dude. But good call, right on, Garrett. Appreciate that. Let's hop into this first topic here. It's talking about here the Kings and the Warriors. We'll get to that playing game, but the first playing game that I want to cover, we'll stick in the West, is the 7-8 matchup between the Pelicans and the Lakers. So the winner of the 7-8 of this matchup here will go on to become the official 7th seed and take on the 2-seeded Nuggets. So who do you think is going to take home this game, Pelicans
Wait,
or
before we
Lakers?
do that, I don't think I've ever heard you say, what do you think about the play-in tournament? Do you like it?
Oh, so this year I like it because it gives the Warriors a chance, but in previous years I
Okay.
don't like it. No, in general, no, I don't like it. I think it's kind of dumb that there are 10 teams making a postseason. I think, or
Yeah.
20 teams in total, 20 out of 30 teams making a postseason. I'm not huge on that. However, I kind of, as time has gone on, I've understood the argument a little bit more for the play-in tournament because of how stacked the NBA is right now. I mean, all top 10 teams in the Western Conference are over 500. The Warriors are the 10 seed with, I think, 45 wins.
46.
46 wins.
I think
So,
they're both 46, 36. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, I kind of understand in that aspect. But then again, you're a 10 seed. I don't really know how. I don't think it's fully fair to the 7 and 8 seeds to be put in that position, to be
I
honest.
still am an advocate for it should just be, I mean, I look, the East-West stuff, it's just what it's always been. But
Mhm.
I just think it should be the top 16 teams make it, because then you got to get over into the East, and it's like the two teams playing in the 9-10 matchup have no business being in the playoffs. So like,
Mhm.
I mean, I think the Hawks are like 35 or 36 wins or something like that. And it's
Yeah.
like you shouldn't be allowed to be in the playoffs. Under 500, you shouldn't be allowed to be in the playoffs. So I don't think either of them are going to make it anyway. But
Well, I agree with that. But then it comes down to like, the Hawks. Oh no, they kind of get on a 2-game hot streak right in the end, and then they take over the 8th seed
yeah,
when
but
there's.
that's where I don't like it. It's like, why
Yeah,
did
no,
this
no, I'm
team that
with you.
just laid back all year all of a sudden? Oh, now you can. It's like the Heat, right? The Heat did it
Mhm.
last year. I know. I guess the Heat last year would have been the 7 seed
Yeah,
originally,
they would have.
right?
I think they
So,
were already in it.
and they ended up the 8 seed because I think they lost the
Mhm.
first play-in game, but then they got to the finals, and it's like you can get hot, and it's like whatever. That's what veteran teams do.
Mhm.
That's what the Heat have done a couple times
Mhm.
now. So, anyway,
Mhm.
sorry. Go ahead I interrupted you to hear about your play-in thoughts.
No, no, that's a good call. Yeah, I'm not huge on the play-in tournament, but the Warriors have a shot, so I guess I like it this year. Okay, Pelicans Lakers 7-8 matchup. Who do you think takes this game?
I think I'm a little bit of a, anytime I talk about the Lakers, it's just out of, I can't stand the Lakers.
Mhm.
I know, like, I think, like, I can't stand LeBron. I can't
Mhm.
stand watching him play. Look, I understand, dude's awesome. He's had an amazing career. We could talk about LeBron at another point when we maybe do another episode where we talk about our lists of all time kind of stuff. But I really think like the Lakers are probably going to win. I think they kind of own the Pelicans this year. The one thing is though, Lakers aren't great on the road, and the Pelicans, get to have it at home. So with Brandon Ingram back, I wouldn't be shocked either way. But my overall prediction, I took the Lakers.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good summary, and I'm kind of the same way. Listen, I think the Pelicans are actually a really, really solid team at full
They
strength,
are.
and we've seen CJ McCollum really shine this last couple of weeks. And now with Brandon Ingram coming back, I wouldn't be entirely shocked if the Pelicans end up winning this game and getting
Yeah,
the
me
7th
neither.
seed. Yeah, but I think I am leaning Lakers, and a big part of that, literally, like I fully believe, a big part of this is the reffing in the NBA that I
Yeah.
fully believe
Well,
that the
what was the
Lakers
thing
have.
you sent me yesterday about the free throw differential? Like,
Oh
what?
my
How
gosh.
ridiculous is that?
Unreal. The free throw differential is unreal. The highest free throw differential this season, Lakers 503, and the second place team is the Heat with 231.
So more
That's
than twice. That's
three
insane to me.
270. Like that's unreal. And
That
it's like I don't understand how you don't see that
that to
as a.
me is so. If you're a Laker fan, and I don't know how many people you have listened to this that are Laker fans, how many buddies you've got. I don't talk to very many people
A
about
few.
basketball, so I don't know very many Laker fans. When
Mhm.
I was younger, I did, but now I'm old and I just hang out with. I have a 6 and 8 year old that I hang out with, and all they say is "Ew, Lakers," So that's the extent of my basketball
Mhm,
conversation at home.
mhm.
But yeah, if you're a Lakers fan and you ever complain about reffing, just stop. Just stop.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
you just have no leg to stand on with that. Like
Mhm,
I'm sure you've had some bad calls here and there. Everybody has. But if we were to just look at like overall, I mean, last year there was a stat that went around that was like they went through the last 2 minute report and it was
mhm,
all the calls in favor that went in favor of a team versus the calls the wrong calls that went in favor of a team or the wrong calls that were went the
mhm.
opposite way. And the Lakers and the Clippers were the overwhelming top of that. And then
Yeah,
the Kings were dead last in that. They had the most calls go against them in the last 2 minutes.
yeah.
Wrong calls go against them in the last 2 minutes. And look, it is what it is. It's the NBA. It's entertainment. I get it. You want to. If I'm the NBA, yeah, I want to see Warriors Lakers play. I want to see Curry LeBron play. That's going to bring in a lot of money. It's going to get a lot of viewership. Kings don't bring in any kind of draw with that. They don't draw national attention. So I get
Mhm.
it. It's an entertainment. It's entertainment. It's a business. So it makes sense. But when it's so glaring, sometimes I'm just kind of like, this is. I mean, when the Lakers will shoot 39 free throws and the other team shoots 12 or something, it's like this
Uh,
is dumb.
it is
It just
dumb.
doesn't make sense.
Agreed, 100%. It's not fun. It's annoying to watch. It just like makes me
That's why I don't
mad
like
when I
watching it.
watch. Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that plays a huge part in why I think the Lakers will win this game and why, honestly, I wouldn't want to go against them as a Warrior fan. If they were to lose this game and the Warriors were to beat the Kings, we'd have to go against them. And I don't want to see that because I don't want to have the refs fully. Okay, we both have the Lakers beating the Pelicans. Could be a good game though. But now let's move on to the really interesting one, the 9-10 matchup, the Kings and Warriors. My Warriors versus your Kings in Sacramento. Guys, ready to light the beam? What do you think?
I think this is more interesting to you than it is to me. I have zero faith in this Kings team.
Yeah.
It's been a really, really rocky season. Now, look, it's hard to
Mhm,
complain as a Kings fan when you got a team get 46 wins after so many bad years. But
sure.
with them now, if they were full strength, I probably would take the Kings, but they're not full strength. I think not having Malik Monk was kind of the season ender for them. Because I sent you a screenshot the other day of the Kings bench, and it's
Yeah.
comical how bad their bench is now without Monk because they haven't been able to put together consistent offense. Now every now and then you
Mhm,
get a nice game from Trey Lyles, from Davion
mhm,
Mitchell, but like Sasha can't hasn't. I mean Sasha. I went to the Kings game last week and when they were playing the Clippers, and it was like my brother and I were laughing at him running down the floor because it was like I love Sasha. Don't get me wrong. I think Sasha's
mhm,
great. I mean EuroLeague MVP. He's a good basketball player, good shooter, but since he's come back from his injury, you can tell he's not in shape. He doesn't add much. And so when you've got Sasha as part of your rotation and out of shape Sasha as your part of your rotation, I mean it's just like it's not going to happen.
mhm.
He's too slow right now. I like Sasha, I'm rooting for him, but
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be close. I think Curry's going to go off. Fox
Mm,
hasn't been great ever since he came. I mean, he started so hot and then he came back from his ankle injury. He's had some good runs here and there, but hasn't been, he's not unstoppable in the clutch anymore like he was last year. The only consistent thing is Sabonis. He's really the only one that's been consistent, and even the coaching, it's been a little bit weird. So I think I said the Warriors. I think the Warriors will win. I mean, Kings being at home doesn't matter. You saw that last week with them dropping. They got beat by 40, I think, by the Mavs at home.
yeah.
And even though it was a little scheduley, I think it was like a back-to-back for the Kings, but still, you're at home. Shouldn't lose by 40. At one point this year, they lost to the Pelicans. They were down by 50 at home against the Pelicans at one point. So home doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And I mean, the Warriors are better on the road anyway. So
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's what
picked
I
the
was gonna bring
Warriors,
up.
even though it breaks my heart. I picked the Warriors.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I was going to bring that up because the Warriors have been better on the road. The Warriors are the strangest team right now because last season they were terrible on the road, and now here they are, and they're actually really good on the road.
Yeah, I didn't even
So
think about that. It flipped
it
this
doesn't make
year.
sense. It completely flipped. It's the weirdest thing ever. But the
You think
Warriors
that's
are
the young
very
guys?
potentially.
What are
Um,
Curry's numbers? Do they switch or is he consistent? I
no,
haven't watched the Warriors enough this year to know.
Steph is generally consistent. I don't really think there's much of a difference. I think the biggest thing is just not numbers wise, but when it just comes to the environment of Chase Center is you just watch it on TV. It's just not that crazy in there. Like you watch Golden One. I mean, I don't watch it like I don't watch a lot of Kings
Kings
games,
fans are
but
amazing. Kings
That's the
fans are
thing.
so awesome. Like
And now
they really are.
I think Warrior fans are great too, but that was mostly when we were in Oakland. Because when we were in Oakland at Oracle, it was roaring in there. I mean, they called it the Roracle Arena, but now at Chase Center, it's all the dudes in their suit and ties, like cruising around, like buying $20 nachos and beers. It's
I went to
ridiculous.
a game. I mean, I used to go to a lot of Warrior games at Oracle, because it was like I mean, they were cheap. This is when the Warriors weren't very good, but it was really cheap. It was actually like early on when Monte was still there. Monte Ellis was still there.
Yeah.
I went to like 6 or 7 games. It was the 2011 2012 season.
Mhm.
But I went one time where I wore my Hito jersey,
Yeah.
and Orlando was in Oracle. I took it off because it was hostile, dude. I thought I was going to get jumped.
I believe it, dude.
It was crazy in there.
I believe it.
I was scared as an opposing fan. All the other
I
games,
think
I like the Warriors. I don't have a problem with the Warriors. I love Curry. Clay's one of my favorite players too. So it's hard for me to
yeah.
really. But when they play the Kings, honestly, there's something that comes out that just I hate Draymond. I can't stand the Warriors. And then as soon as it's over, it's like I'm rooting for the Warriors again. I like the
Yeah.
Warriors. So yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest part of this whole home and away thing for the Warriors. But as for this game, this 9-10 matchup, I'm also going to ride with the Warriors here. But I do think it's going to be a close game. But I think both of these teams are fairly inconsistent. I think both of these teams don't
Yeah,
stand
that's
a
fair.
chance to win the finals this year. And I just think it's kind of like a game where honestly you don't really know what's going to happen. But the one thing that I know I can count on is Steph Curry in a elimination game. And I think that Steph's, like you brought up, I think Steph's going to have a really good game. And
Is his ankle healthy? Because because you told me that today. I saw his game time
yeah,
decision. I didn't know that his ankle was messed up. I knew he didn't play against the Jazz, but I just thought this because it didn't matter.
yeah, it was a little sprain. He kind of tweaked it. He kind of rolled it. It didn't look fantastic. But Steve Kerr, they came out and said that he could have played against the Jazz,
Oh,
and
okay.
they just wanted to rest
Because
him.
I would be, I mean, if I'm Steph and I've got a bum ankle and I'm gonna have Davion and Keon riding me all night, like that'd be even though Steph's, I mean, you know how I feel about Steph. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time, all
Totally.
around. But those dudes are pests. Like
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to have a pesky defender on me if my ankle's bummed.
Yeah.
So
No. So I think his ankle's fine. It's not, I see honestly zero world where Steph doesn't play this game. But I think his ankle's not going to be much of an issue. I think Steph's going to have a good game. I think it's going to be a really good game though. I don't think it's going to be a Warrior blowout.
this is the other thing I thought of today, and I was gonna bring it up. Let's say Steph doesn't play. I know it's not gonna happen.
Oh.
But if you've watched
Oh.
Kings, no, listen to this. If you've watched Kings games this year, Kings have struggled so much against teams that are not full strength. And I don't know if it's a mindset thing, but anytime it became a thing to where now look, you know how I feel about the Kings announcers. They're awful.
Oh gosh, they're terrible.
They're terrible. They're so bad. But they
They are.
bring it up a lot where it's like if there's a team coming in that is shorthanded, they struggle against it. And I don't know if it's a mindset like we should just beat these guys, but I remember them coming in. It was I think the first time we saw that was I'm trying to think who it was. It was in it was the Hornets. The Hornets came
Mhm.
in and they were missing like 3 dudes and they just got lit up by guys I hadn't even heard of. And it was just like, what is
Mhm.
happening here? They were making TJ McConnell look like is it TJ McConnell? Is he on the Hornets? No.
No, TJ McConnell's not on the Hornets, but somebody
I'm
on the
trying to think who
Hornets
was
that it could have been is
Oh, it was
Sir
Terry Rozier before he got
Terry
traded.
Rozier.
It
Yeah.
was Terry Rozier. I do know Terry Rozier, but no, it was just like one of those games where I sound like an idiot right now, but you know
No,
what I
no,
mean.
no, dude. I do that all the time. Um,
I
I
don't
don't know.
watch enough of the whole league to know where everybody is right now.
Well, no. I think if Steph doesn't play, I'm not taking the Warriors, dude. They have
I
not looked.
honestly,
Granted,
I just wouldn't be shocked. The Kings have shown that they don't play well against teams that are shorthanded. Oh, it was like, and when like Franz went out against, or when they played Orlando, Franz rolled his ankle.
yeah,
And again, I can't watch those games very well, but Franz rolled his ankle. And it was like, without Franz, the Kings should have handled Orlando just fine. And
should have.
it was
They
like, I
didn't.
think it was at least overtime. Paolo
Yeah.
lit him up that night. But anyways.
Well, I don't know. I think Steph's gonna play, so I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
imagine that.
I was just hypothetical.
No. I like it. But I do think the Warriors are gonna end up taking this game. So we both have the Warriors.
So we got the
have
Warriors as the 8 seed then, right?
Well, that would make it
Oh,
Warriors
Warriors Pelicans.
versus Pelicans. And then, okay, so who do you have there?
This is where I said I kind of cheated a little bit. I actually just took Pelicans Lakers just because of the 7-8 thing anyway.
Yeah,
And then I just swapped them because the Lakers are going to win that first game. So I put Lakers 7, Pelicans 8.
that's a fair call. I'm gonna go Warriors here again. Because not that I think that they've been better this season, but I trust Steph Curry again, and I think Steph Curry is going to turn it up. And because Steph Curry is going to have to carry us. I mean, for the most part, I generally think the Warriors have a pretty deep team,
They
but
do.
they haven't shown that all this year. They haven't. It's weird because I think they do, but they haven't really shown it all that much. But I'm going to take Steph against the Pelicans in an elimination game here, and sneak into the 8th seed. I think that can happen here.
Well,
But
for the sake of this, then I'm going to go with you, just for the
I
sake
like
of
it.
the rest of the bracket here.
Okay, I
Is that
love it.
fine?
I like it. No, we can go with
Because
that. Your call, though.
I could go toss up there. I would have probably said the Pel. Well, no, I'll stick with
Well, it
the
is.
Pelicans.
You
No,
can stick with
I'll
the
go with
Pelicans.
it.
Stick with the Pelicans. Stick with the Pelicans. That's a very valid pick. I have nothing wrong with that. So, okay, before we get into the rest of the West, let's get into the Eastern Conference play-in too, so we can just knock these out.
So
So,
uninteresting to me.
very uninteresting. So we can just breeze right through this. 7th seed 76ers versus the 8th seed in Miami Heat. I'm actually going to rock with the Miami Heat here just for the sole fact that Jimmy Butler seems to just go crazy in the playoff time.
Do you
So,
think he's got another one of those in him? He
yeah,
looks
dude.
different this year. He doesn't seem like now maybe it's hard.
Well,
You shouldn't doubt him, but because he's shown it
yeah.
over and over.
That's the thing. Like every year, it's almost like, man, Jimmy Butler, like he was okay in the regular season, like still played very well, whatever. But dude, it's playoff buckets, dude. He is so good in the playoffs. So
He
or
is.
postseason. I guess playing's not even the playoffs. But I'm gonna take Jimmy Butler here over the Sixers. But again, that's gonna be a game that I'm definitely gonna try and tune into. It'll be a pretty good game. But I'll go
I
Miami.
like that game. I think I'm going to go chalk here, and I'm going to say the Sixers are going to win that one.
Okay.
And then I think the Heat will be the 8th seed.
So Bulls Hawks doesn't really matter. I
The
guess
Bulls are
I'm
going
gonna
to. I
take.
think the Bulls are going to win that. Bulls. I feel like the Bulls are actually a decent team. Like they've had so many games that are close this year, and I guess that's the sign that you're not that great if you're losing all the close games. But they they're not a pushover. Whereas I think we've seen the Hawks are so streaky, where it's like, yeah,
They are.
maybe you come back against the Celtics on a 30-point deficit against the Celtics, and you can beat, like, they're a good matchup for some teams, but I just don't. They're not a good team. I can't stand watching the Hawks either. Like, I only watched them play. Let's see, I watched them play against Orlando this year. Watched playing against the Kings this year. So what is that? Maybe like 5 times. I can't
Yeah,
stand watching them play.
that's
Um,
fair.
and I don't think I like the Bulls. I think the Bulls are actually a good team. That
I think the Bulls should be better than
and
they are.
did you watch them against the Knicks the other day, or did you just see the score?
No, I just saw the overtime score.
I mean,
That was a great game.
It took Brunson going off to beat
Yeah,
them in
Brun
overtime, and
mhm.
I mean they're not a pushover team. They're
No,
not
they're
going to be
not.
a fun out for the 1 seed for sure.
No, you're right. And then but you have 76ers going against the Bulls and the
Oh, I
Sixers
guess
winning that.
what's that? Oh yeah,
You have
yeah. So I would have 76ers. No, I would have 76ers win against the Heat.
Oh, that's right. But then you'd have Heat versus
I'd
Bulls
have
and
Heat
then
Bulls. And again, I think it's going to be the Heat, but the Bulls just aren't a pushover.
fair. I'm the same way. But I agree with you on the Bulls, but I've always been a believer in Ice Trey. Ever since that Eastern Conference Finals
That was
run,
yeah.
I think Trey can pull it out.
He almost
One
won me
game.
over in that series. He
He
almost
won
won me
me.
over.
Yeah,
I liked him.
yeah. No, Trey, that was a
It
crazy
was a good
run. I think a
run.
lot of people forget about, like, not that he's been like the Hawks have been great since then, because they really haven't. They've been pretty mediocre, but I think Trey can pull out one game there. So I'll take the Hawks against the Bulls, but then I'll take the Sixers to beat the Hawks. So have the Heat. I have the Heat at the 7th seed and the Sixers as the 8th seed. So
Okay, so we just flip flopped.
but okay, let's get into the entire first round predictions. We'll get right through these games. So starting with the West, we'll go the 1 versus 8 in both of our cases. Nope.
No, I got
Not
the
in your
Pelicans.
case, it's Thunder Pelicans. So okay, Thunder versus Pelicans. Who do you got and how many games?
Okay. I was really down on the Thunder this year earlier on. I was I was an SGA
Yep,
doubter.
you were.
I'll fully admit that. And as the season's gone on, I told you, I think I texted you a couple weeks ago, and I just said I was wrong about SGA. Like that guy is so stinking good, and he's a good
Yep.
defender. I'm gonna take but again, The West is stacked. And like you pointed out a couple weeks ago, the gap between the 1 and 2 in the East is the same between the 1 and the 10 in the West. So like
Crazy.
I don't think anyone's going to breeze through any of this. So I've got the Thunder in 6.
Okay, good. So mine will be Thunder Warriors, and I have the Thunder in 6, but I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna add one small thing. If this series goes to 7, the Warriors will win it. So I'm going to take the Thunder just because I think they're better, and they've proven to me this season that they're just the better team. I don't think the Warriors are going to be some easy team to go against, though. And I do think if it ends up going to 7, I would take the Warriors. But my opinion, I'll take the Thunder in 6 here.
Okay.
2-seeded Nuggets, 7-seeded Lakers. What do you got?
So if I'm the Nuggets, I'm stoked because I feel like the Nuggets got their number even in close games.
Yep.
I don't remember. I'm talking kind of off the last year's Western Conference Finals. I can't remember what the season series matchup is between them, but I trust the Nuggets. I trust Jokic. I think they're a really good team. They're very well rounded. I like Aaron Gordon a lot, especially from his Orlando days, and he is the perfect complement on that team. So I really like the Nuggets, but I would take, again, I don't think no one's gonna walk through this. So I'm gonna say Nuggets in 6 in this one also. I think the Lakers can get a couple from them.
I'm pretty similar. I'm gonna go Nuggets in 5 though. I was between Nuggets in 4 and Nuggets in 5, but I'm gonna give the Lakers a game.
4's in play. Going back to I think playing in LA. Sure. I just am not going to be surprised if the Lakers get 1 or 2. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets sweep either. I mean, I think there's a possibility. I don't think the Lakers have a chance in this series.
Me neither.
It would take probably an injury on the Nuggets side for the Lakers to win this.
I'm with you. But I'll go Nuggets in 5 on this. I'll give the Lakers 1 game, but outside of that, I think it's going to be the Nuggets all over this series. Okay, interesting one. I think it's going to be really good. The 3rd-seeded Timberwolves versus 6th-seeded Suns, who, in fact, the Timberwolves are favored to lose this series. I just learned.
By Vegas?
By Vegas.
What's the...
I don't know. I saw a post on it earlier today. It just said the Timberwolves
now, is Cat back? Or is he out?
I think Cat's back. Cat is back.
Okay, because he had like a surgery, right? This is where I say, like, I don't watch enough of the NBA.
Cat came back the last.
Cat came back.
Cat came back the last game or 2. He's back.
Did he play the other day when they? Okay, and the Suns
I'm pretty
worked
positive.
him.
They did work him.
Yeah. Well, now I'm rethinking my pick.
No. He did play that game. Yeah, because he came back. So Cat did play. So the Timberwolves. Yeah, you're right. The Timberwolves were full strength. From what I know of, and the Suns did work them. Okay, Timberwolves Suns. Give me the Timberwolves, even though
I'm starting to figure out here. My picks are kind of boring. I don't trust the Suns either. I've seen them play some pretty awesome games. Like they've worked the Kings pretty well, but they struggled with the Kings the other night, and the Kings are like, I mean, you shouldn't struggle against that team right now if you're the Suns. Sure. Like that should be a game that you're like, we got this, because they're shorthanded. You've got Booker, Durant. I've never been a big fan of Beal, but Grayson Allen is.
He just got paid.
He just got paid because of how good he is this year. And when you've got a guy that can shoot that well from 3, that's playing off Booker and Durant, they're not going to have any trouble scoring. But I just don't trust them. I think the Wolves are really good. I love Anthony Edwards.
They are.
I think Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite players in the league. And I picked Wolves in 6 in this one too. This is kind of boring for me. I'm saying everybody in 6. I kind of hope for a good series with all these.
No, I mean, series in 6 are normally pretty good. I'm going to agree with you here. And I think that what you brought up is the Suns' biggest problem. I think the Suns, because before the season started, my pick for the finals this year was the Suns. They were just loaded. Now, I knew the one thing was defensively, this team wasn't going to be they were going to be subpar defensively. They were going to have, like you said, no problem scoring the ball. Now with the emergence of Grayson Allen, I mean, that just solidifies that. But their defense is kind of an issue. So I think that's obviously what's been their biggest problem this season. The Timberwolves are number 1 in defensive rating this year. Rudy Gobert has absolutely held it down. in the paint this season for the Timberwolves, and they've honestly surprised me. Anthony Edwards has been unreal. I'm taking Timberwolves in 6 here. I think the Suns should be better than they actually are because I don't think Kevin Durant, I don't think he's a bad defender. Outside of that,
he's
though,
really good when he wants to be.
yeah, you're right. He is.
He was like that in Golden State too, where it was like if that dude wants to lock somebody down, I mean, he's long, he's strong, he's fast. I still can't believe that dude came back from an Achilles and just looks like nothing ever happened. He's so
anomaly.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's
especially like he's not that young either. It's just like, I mean, I don't know how he does that, but
I think it's kind of funny. This is a little off topic, but I was talking to somebody about the whole Achilles thing, and I was saying how I think your best case, but outside of Kevin Durant, who was like a total anomaly in this situation, I think your best case scenario you're looking at, it's coming off an Achilles injury, is like Klay Thompson. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Klay Thompson.
Or a Sean Livingston career. I mean, look what Sean Livingston became. 100%. Like, he's a good player, but Sean Livingston was amazing before that injury. He was going to have a great career, and that was a nasty injury.
Mm-hmm. So I think those are like your best case scenarios. But then you look at Kevin Durant, who tore his Achilles, sat an entire season, and comes back, and he's arguably better than he was before.
I know. I mean, so that's crazy.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So
well, he almost carried Brooklyn the year I think it was the year the Bucks won the championship, right? He almost carried Brooklyn to that just a little bit. And
close, dude.
Like
they were that close.
That's a good team that they were playing. So
his foot was on the line by like a centimeter, dude. And if it wasn't, who knows? It could have been totally different. Okay. We both have Thunder, Nuggets, Timberwolves so far. 4-5. Clippers, Mavericks. This will be a really good series, I feel like. And I want to know who you got.
All right. I'm really high on the Mavericks.
Me too.
I think they're so good, and they're on a run with normal acting Kyrie right now. Kyrie is so good. And when you've got it depends on what Kawhi you get, right? If you're going to get Kawhi, there's sometimes you see Kawhi and you're like, is this guy the best player in the league? Like he's unbelievable. Right. But then for the most part, the Clippers are just kind of like, they're a weird team. Like they went on a really good run where it looked like they were the best team in the West for a while. And then all of a sudden it's just like, does James Harden care? Is Westbrook always cares? You're going to get that from Westbrook. I think that's big for them to have him back from the hand injury. But sure. I went way against what Chalk would say on this one, and I said Mavs in 5.
Ooh,
I know.
5.
That's my big gamble there because I'm really high on the Mavs.
I like it. No, I like Mavs in 5. So I kind of agree with everything you said here, but I am going Mavericks as well. I'm taking the Mavs here to win this series. I've been really high on the Mavs. They have been so good as of their last even 15 or so games. They've been extremely good. Kyrie's
I think they might be the best team in the West right now as far as if you just looked at that small sample size of the last 15.
100%. If you're looking at the last 15, 20 games, they're 100% the hottest team in the West, and they're probably the best team in the West in that sample size. So I'm taking the Mavs here too. 5, I get a little iffy on. I gotta respect, not that you're not respecting them, but Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are arguably the 2 best two-way players in the NBA. So if they're bringing it, it's not going to be an easy series here for the Mavs. I am going to take the Mavs in 7 here. I think it's going to go to game 7. And I think the Mavs are going to end up pulling it out. I like Kyrie in an elimination game, but I went back and forth with this because I also like Kawhi in an elimination game. But ultimately,
it just depends on what Kawhi we get, right?
True.
I mean, it's 100%. Really if you're going to get healthy Kawhi and honestly, it probably depends more on what James Harden you're going to get because I don't trust James Harden in the playoffs at all.
Definitely not. He hasn't shown anything in the playoffs.
I think the most reliable thing you can count on is going to be Westbrook. You know what you're going to get from Westbrook, and that's great to have him off the bench. I think the Paul George question too would also be. Paul George is awesome. I really like Paul George too. I just think the Mavs right now they're hot. I think they can ride that hot streak, and I think the Clippers haven't been. I think they've been struggling. So, yeah,
that's fair. The Clippers have been one of the colder teams in the playoffs as of recently.
I think they're. I'm trying to pull up the. Sorry, dude. I just saw your text about moving the thing.
No, it doesn't matter. It's okay. There's that little. I can say anything. It doesn't matter. But
the logo, yeah.
Yeah, the logo. It's fine though. because when
I'm
I edit this after and I can get your face in the photo.
oh,
But
sure.
anyways.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, looking at the West playoff teams, they're the team entering the playoffs on a 3-game losing streak.
The Clippers.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Clippers. Now Dallas did
Interesting.
lose their last two. They're 7-3 in their last. So I mean, 6-4 in their last 10. The Clippers. So I mean, they're not. It wasn't that. But I feel like there was a really bad stretch there for a while where it was like, dude, are they going to fall out of this?
No, there
Um,
was 100%. You're right about that.
they. I
There,
actually for a minute there, I thought the Mavs were going to jump them.
they could have. The Mavs are hot. The Clippers are not. So I can definitely see the Mavs winning this series. I have the Mavs winning this series,
Hard
but
to say that a team that won 51 games and it's like,
I know, pretty crazy. Okay, so we got our picks. I think we picked the exact 4 same teams in the Western Conference.
we got Thunder, Nuggets, Wolves, and Mavs.
We do. So let's move on to the East, the
All right.
eastern side of the country. And we'll start with the 1 and 8. In my case, it's Celtics Sixers, and in your case, it's Celtics Heat. I think I have a feeling we're both gonna.
Man,
pick
aren't you just mad if you're a Boston fan? Like, what are the zombie Heat doing here again?
I know. That's a good point.
What a terrible draw for them. Because even I got the Celtics winning this, but that's just one of those, like, they're just gonna beat them up, and like it's just not a fun 8-1 matchup. You kind of want that to be an easy 4 or 5 game series.
Totally.
And the Heat are just not gonna, I don't think they're gonna roll over.
No, they're not. Well, so you have the Celtics in what?
I said Boston in 5.
Okay.
I think the Heat will get 1.
Yeah, I mean that can. Yeah, that's fair. I have Boston in 5 too, but I just got thrown off because I had the Sixers and I forgot we were different. But yeah,
you
Celtics,
have Boston over Philadelphia. Then that's your 8-1 matchup.
Yeah,
if you're Boston, who would you rather face? Who are you rooting for?
If I'm Boston, I'd rather face. That's tough, dude. That's so.
I don't
tough.
want to face Embiid though. I don't want all of a sudden the Sixers. I don't think the Sixers are a 7 seed with Embiid. They should be 3 or 4. Like they're
exactly. I agree with you on that. That's a good point. And I think if you're a Celtics fan, you'd rather face Miami.
I think so too.
Unless Embiid wasn't there, but obviously
I also think the Heat are just a stinking monkey on their back, right? Like, I mean, the Heat have had they were a Jimmy Butler 3-pointer away from beating Boston in the year the Warriors won it, right? 2022. What was that? Yeah, 2022.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it took them 7 games to get rid of them there, and last year it took them 7 games, and then Tatum rolls his ankle 20 seconds into the game, and you can't make the comeback from 3-0. They're just kind of this I don't know. They're like a rash to Boston. It just won't go away.
No, you're right. So I have the Celtics here going against the Sixers, and I have the Celtics in 5. Just because they've been, even if Joel Embiid, like you brought up, if Embiid was there, they would be a 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah.
But the Celtics are still just better than everybody right now. So I still think it's going to be pretty convincing series win here for the Celtics. So I got the Celtics moving on. We both have them moving on. Okay. Next matchup. For you, it's the Knicks versus the Sixers. And for me, it's the Knicks versus the Heat. Who do you got?
All right. I took, so I'm Knicks Sixers. I took Knicks in 7. I think it's going to go deep because, again, I think Philly's more of like a 3 seed. I don't think this is you could see it going either way. I think I like the Knicks with the home court in New York. Sure. So I took Knicks in 7 over Philly.
Good pick. I got the Knicks in 6 over the Heat. Same type of reasoning. I think the Knicks, I mean, it's funny because kind of like how you were with Oklahoma City, maybe. I was not super duper high on the Knicks this season. I always kind of thought Jalen Brunson got just a little too much hype. But
I thought he did too, but now he's kind of, this year, he's kind of shown like, all right, because last year, he wasn't an all-star last year, and it was like when I think the injury, or was he?
I don't think he was an all-star last year.
He didn't get in with an injury replacement, did he?
No, I don't think so. Because I'm pretty sure, from what I remember, this was his first all-star game.
I think you're right. Yeah, and he deserved it. He needed to be an all-star this year. I like that he's. It always bummed me out that the Mavs let him go, but he needed to be his own. He have his own team. Like, being next to Luka wouldn't have worked for him. in the long run. Especially he's shown that he can be the number one guy on a team.
He was the highest scoring American this year.
Was he really?
He was at fifth. He was fifth in the league.
What did he average?
28.7 points.
Who is the next American?
The next Devin Booker.
He averaged more than Devin Booker. Okay.
He averaged 1.6 more points than Devin Booker.
Wow.
That is just a ton of Americans, but the top four are not Americans. Pretty crazy. The game has gone global. Anyway, so we both have the Knicks here. In good series, though, like I have the Knicks.
The Knicks over Heat's going to be a rock fight.
That will be a rock fight.
I can see it going 7. That's going to be a rock fight.
I can see it going 7.
I'm telling you, dude. It's so hard not the Heat. The Heat are the herpes of the NBA. They just won't go away.
It's a good one. You're right about that, though. So I could honestly see the Heat even winning this series, but I am going to go Knicks. Okay. This is kind of an interesting one. Third-seeded Bucks versus sixth-seeded Pacers. What do you think?
All right. This is the first upset I've got on here. Real upset. I mean, 5-4 in the West. I think the Pacers are going to win this. I'm not big on the Pacers. I think they've got a lot of problems, but when they're right, they put up they score so much, and I don't think the Bucks will be able to keep up with them. We've also seen the Pacers kind of they're not a nice matchup for the Bucks. I mean, they've got good players. I would love to see Halliburton be Halliburton. It kind of sucks that guy, like, he's just since the All-Star break, since he came back from the injury, the hamstring, right?
Yeah.
He just didn't seem right. It seemed like they might have rushed him back a little early, and maybe that was because of the stuff we were talking about with the All NBA. Because if he gets All NBA, he can make $40 million more. So maybe they were doing him a favor by rushing him back to say he could play, so he could get to the 65. Did he get to the 65 games? He didn't.
I don't think so. Because I remember seeing that
sucks.
Wait, hold on. Because now you have me.
I know, right? I thought he got to 65.
Hold on. Tyrese. Because I thought I remember seeing. Oh no, I'm thinking of Donovan Mitchell because he went out for a while and he did. Yeah. Okay, so hold on. Let me see. I might be thinking
he
of
played 69. Mitchell. He got 69. There.
You're right.
Okay, I was going to feel so bad for him. I really like Tyrese. I don't think he's as good as everybody is making him out to be. But I'm also, like, I'm really big on defense, and I think he's terrible on defense. So that's why I'm not as big on him. But I loved Tyrese when the Kings drafted him. I loved him in Sacramento. I'm not shy about the fact that I think the Kings actually won that trade purely off of what they were able to do outside of the trade, not having Halliburton around, like sign Monk. That wouldn't have worked. So they got, basically, in my eyes, they got Monk and Sabonis for Halliburton. Like, it's hard to say you lose that trade. I mean, it's pretty even, but still, I think so. I had Pacers in 6. Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, dude, this is a podcast. That's what we're here for. I have the Bucks in 6, and I just kind of realized too, my picks are pretty boring for the most part. But I have the Bucks in 6 here. I don't see a world where the Pacers get out of the first round and going against Giannis and Dame. Now, I do know that the Bucks have been fairly underwhelming this season, and I did think that the Bucks would be better. I thought Giannis and Dame individually had really good seasons. I think they were both all-star starters. And I did think that as a team, they would be a lot better. And I thought they'd rival the Celtics for the 1 seed. That clearly didn't happen. But I'm going to put my trust here in Giannis. And I know Damian Lillard hasn't shown a ton in the playoffs, but I'm going to put it in Giannis and Dame over Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. Now, I do know that the Pacers, you brought it up a little bit. The Pacers are kind of a tough matchup here for the Bucks, and we saw it in the regular season. But I got this feeling. I'm kind of riding here with Giannis, dude. I think it's going to be a good series. I do. I don't think it's going to be a sweep or anything. I'm going to go Bucks in 6. But I am going to ride with Giannis. I think he's going to be too much to handle in the paint. I think Dame, I've always been a Dame guy, and I know he's kind of been owned by the Warriors for years, and he hasn't proved much
because he doesn't play defense.
Sure, you're right about that.
He's a terrible defender. He's so bad on defense. Him and Trae Young are just so, it's cringy.
They are bad defenders. Trae Young is a very bad defender, and Damian Lillard is also a bad defender.
And I love Dame. Dame's a great player. But when you're bad on defense, I just think I'm so I'm like a get off my lawn type of guy with that, where it's like, even with Jokic, like Jokic is that way too, where it's like, I think Jokic is amazing. I think he's one of the best players in the world, but he's not a great defender. Jokic isn't a terrible defender because he's actually really smart on where he needs to be. He
Sure.
knows where to go and he knows the game. His IQ is really high, so he's in the right spots. Um, but I still am just like, nah, I want to see you be good on both sides, at least average on defense. If you're going to be an awesome offensive player, put the effort in on defense. Like Curry. Curry does that, where it's like he gets underrated as a defender, but he's in the right places. He doesn't lack effort.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Smart defender.
Yeah,
Got to
smart
know what to
defender.
do.
So the Pacers Bucks, the season series is Pacers 3-2. They played 5 times this year because of the
Wow.
play-in.
Oh yeah.
Or not the play-in, the in-season
The
tournament.
in-season tournament.
Now they had the weird thing is when you play 5 times and they haven't played since January 3rd, which is crazy
Ooh,
to think that they went
really?
playing 5 times. They haven't played since January 3rd. They played 1 game in November, 2 in December, 2 in January.
Really?
But
Why
yeah, so
haven't
it's
they
3
played this?
3-2 Pacers, and the Pacers were able to beat the Bucks twice in Milwaukee. So that's what makes me
Ooh.
go, that's not a good sign for the Bucks, especially when the Bucks did not beat the Pacers in Indiana. So the games
Valid.
the Bucks won, the 2 games the Bucks won were both in, am I looking at this right? Oh, dude, no. Pacers are 4-1 against the Bucks this season.
Oh.
And the 1 game the Bucks won was in Milwaukee. And then there were 2 games in Milwaukee that the Pacers won. So not a good
You're
sign for
right.
the Bucks.
You're right. I
But
am
to
looking
be
at that.
fair, that's literally, over 3 months ago that last game was played. So
Dang. I thought they played more recent than January.
I did
I
too.
was
And then
wrong.
I looked at that. I was like, I guess
Definitely
January
thought they
3rd.
did.
Yeah. So
January 3rd.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the first real difference we have, right?
Yeah, it is.
So I've got the Pacers moving on, and you've got the Bucks. Okay.
Okay. Next one. This will be a fun one for you,
Oh
I
wait,
feel like.
I gotta switch my jersey.
Should I switch my jersey? I'm going to switch mine because I have a Magic
Let's
jersey
put
too.
on our Hardaway jerseys.
All right. I'll do it. I am not an Orlando Magic fan. For the listeners, not a Magic fan at all. I like them. I think they're fine. I can totally be a Magic supporter, but I'm not a Magic fan. So this jersey does not make me a fan. I just like the jersey, and I'm giving it a little warning for the
I
people
have
out
to
there.
point this out because I didn't know she did this. Can you see
I
the
saw it.
chalkboard behind
I
me?
saw it, and I was gonna say, did that say "Go Lakers"?
Yes, that was my
Okay,
wife
so
being
so
being a
I was
troll.
dude, I was going to say something and I saw "Go LA" and I couldn't see the rest. So I was like, I'm not gonna. Maybe it's like some personal thing. I wasn't gonna say anything. I didn't know what it was. Go Lakers! I saw that
No,
earlier.
she's being a
That's
troll.
funny. That's funny.
That's it now.
That's really funny.
Ugh, come on.
I like it. Well, I don't like the Lakers, but that was funny.
We're
I'm
gonna
always good
discuss
for a
this
little.
later.
That's funny. But
She
before
knows, like, because I'm like this. I'm worse with Dodgers because I mean, to me
okay,
it's like this because we, at least with the Lakers, like I love Shaq. So and
sure,
Kobe is one of those guys that as much as I hate the Lakers, Kobe's amazing, and
sure.
I'm a huge Kobe guy, but not while he was playing, I hated him because he was so good. But anyways, she knows
Okay,
that that's a problem for me. I was gonna put this on too, but then just became kind of a hassle. So I got my Orlando Magic hat here too.
I like it. I was
Telling you,
just
I'm a
letting the
cheater.
people know. I was just letting the people know that I'm not a Magic fan. That I just like the jersey and Penny Hardaway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, not a Magic fan. I'm a Warriors fan. Okay, 4th-seeded Cavaliers versus the 5th-seeded Magic.
Go.
This
Can you
is going to
erase
be
that?
good.
Now I
Good
can
call.
see it, and it's gonna just.
I saw it earlier, dude.
Oh
That
my
made me
gosh.
laugh.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
This is gonna be good, man. What
All
do we
right.
got, you Magic
So
fan?
yeah, so I'm gonna take Magic in 6. I don't trust the Cavs. I think that they're that little 18 game win streak they went on. I think if
Did
you
they go
look
on
at
an
that,
18-game win streak?
I'm pretty
Holy
sure it was
cannoli!
18. Uh,
I don't know. Remember that? That's crazy, dude. I don't even
Well,
remember.
I remember mainly because
Sounds kind of familiar. Maybe that was earlier in the season.
well, it was earlier in the season, and I remember it was a let's see, I'm trying to find where that win streak was. So
Dang, 18 games. Why do I not remember that? That seems like pretty big
wasn't
news.
it 18? Am I wrong?
No, I don't know. You're probably right. I just don't. I just for
Oh
some
wait,
reason.
no. I'm sorry. They went. So let's see. They went. It was like they were like 18-1 in their
Okay.
last. It was they had a loss in between in the middle there, but they went
Okay.
on like so. Let's see. They were on a. It was an 8-game win streak. Then they lose, and then they went on a 9-game win streak. So it was 17-1 over the last 18. That's what it was.
Okay.
So it was an
Okay.
18-game win streak.
Okay.
But they went 17-1 over 18 games. But people were making a huge deal out of it. And then I went and looked at like their schedule, and I'm like, okay, this isn't that because it's like it started off with 2 Washington wins, and
Mhm.
then they go San Antonio and Brooklyn and Chicago. So there's 5 teams to start that run
Mhm.
with no playoff teams except for the Chicago play-in team, right?
Mhm.
Then they stomped on Milwaukee, but then they go Atlanta. They lose to Milwaukee. They do beat Orlando. That was a nice quality win because they beat them in Orlando, which Orlando's really good at home. But then
Yeah.
it's like you got Detroit, Memphis, San Antonio, Washington, Brooklyn, Toronto. Like it's like a very few quality wins
Yeah.
within this 17-1 stretch. And that's where it
True.
was like they got a little bit blown up of like, look how good they are. And they are a good team. Don't get me wrong. And that's what a good team does is beats the bad teams, right? Which like the Kings couldn't do that this year. They lost to a bunch of really bad teams. So anyways, I don't trust the Cavs. So I took the Magic, yeah, in
I
6.
like it. A Magic in 6. I have Magic in 7. And I am not. I've always been a big Donovan Mitchell guy, but I'm kind of with you, dude. I mean, like you kind of
He
took the
also doesn't
words out
seem
of.
happy.
Okay, so I was gonna bring that up. I actually wrote this down because it sounds like Donovan Mitchell's out of there. Like I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't sound like he's. I mean, I don't know. When he got traded to the Cavs, it was this whole thing, and it sounded like he was fine with it. Whatever. It was kind of unexpected, and now it doesn't seem like he wants to be there much. It doesn't seem like it's the relationship's really working. I don't know. There's been reports that they haven't gotten extensions done, and it sounds like he's probably not going to be there. Um, I don't trust this Cavs team, and I'm kind of with you. And honestly, a couple of years ago, last year might have been, I had a little bit more faith in them. This season, I don't, and I like the Magic, dude. Now, I haven't watched a ton of Magic games, and I should have
They're not
because
good in the
it's
fourth.
sick.
They don't play well in the fourth quarter. They because their offense isn't great. They don't shoot the 3 very well. They've got some big weaknesses. Like they're very young. They've got I mean, they don't have a shooter. Like that's why I think the team most likely to pull Monk away from Sacramento would be Orlando. I
Mhm.
think Monk would be a perfect fit there. But their defense is great. Jonathan Isaac off the bench is a huge like that's I think Jonathan Isaac, if he played enough minutes, he'd be given being the he wouldn't win it, but he'd be in defensive player of the year talks.
He
I think
always
Suggs
was.
is often awesome on defense, and I
Mhm.
think Suggs is going to at least be able to frustrate. I don't know
Sure.
if he's going to guard Garland or if he's going to guard uh why am I blanking on his name?
Are we talking about Donovan Mitchell?
Mitchell. I don't know
Yeah.
who he's going to guard, but
Yeah.
I like the Cavs. Cavs are a good team. I like Mobley. I think Mobley's a really good player. I just don't think that their chemistry is going to get them past. And I think one of the things about Orlando that you notice, they love playing with each other. Like they
Mhm.
love that
That's
team. They're
huge.
they're close. They love each other, and I think
That's
that's
huge.
really big. I think they're having fun. They've got nothing to lose because if they go out in the first round, no one even thought they'd be there. So
Yeah. Don't matter.
similar to where the Kings were last year, where it was like,
Sure.
look, it sucks that they lost in 7 to the Warriors, but at the same time, it was like I went to game 2 and it was like that was so fun. And I mean, nobody was really that disappointed. We're far more disappointed in this year than last year with the Kings. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
so Orlando I think is has a good shot at taking Cleveland.
I'm with you on that. Okay, so those are our full first round predictions, including the playing tournament and then the first round itself. So we got our first round predictions there. Really
So
excited.
I think the West were the same, right?
You know what? No, there weren't because I'm gonna change one. I'm gonna change one
Oh,
right now. Can I do this? I can. I kind of make the rules on
it's
this
your
show.
rules.
Okay, I'm changing one. The Thunder, bye-bye. You're gonna get beat by the Warriors in the first round. And
Oh my
I don't know.
gosh.
Dude, so listen, dude, give me a sec. I was looking back on this the whole time we were talking. I kind of kept glancing. I have Thunder win over Warriors. I have it written right here. And I was like, you know what? I kept looking. I was like, I don't know. I kept looking at my Clay jersey I was wearing. I was like, I don't know about that, dude. And you know what?
I
Listen,
mean,
I
the
know that.
Thunder are by far the youngest one seed that the league's ever seen, right? So, I mean, youth,
So.
that doesn't bode well, but they've just been so much more consistent and they've kind of
Oh yeah,
shown some grittiness to them that I didn't expect.
100%.
Um,
They're better.
and
They've
spoiler
been
alert,
better.
I think they've got the MVP.
Yeah, good call, dude. We'll get there too because that's a spoiler for me as well. Um, listen, I just think I was gonna say something right now, and then it kind of just
Sorry.
flew away out. No. It just
Well,
soared
you
out of
think
my
Warriors
brain.
over Thunder. So why? Tell me why.
I think Warriors over Thunder, and there was a reason that I was about to say, and I'm gonna think of it because it was something that I was gonna say. But anyways, okay, so the Warriors over the Thunder. I think it can totally happen. And you brought up how the Thunder are the youngest one seed, 100%. I think the Thunder have literally been the better team. And I mean, obviously, they're the one seed. That's not even close. The Warriors are the 10th seed right now. But the experience levels, way different. We know that. And I do think that plays a big role. I don't think it plays maybe not as huge of a role as some people might think, but experience when you're going against guys who have 4 championships who aren't done yet, they're going to get another one at some point. I think that plays a huge role. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry. Klay Thompson, if he can continue playing like he has the last 6 or 7 games, he's been really good. You got Klay Thompson, you have a sharpshooter, and you have who I think he's still a solid defender. Other people may disagree. Draymond Green is still one of the best defenders in the league and of all time. This team, I just think if they can get it clicking, and I know they haven't, and it's a huge ask, and this is kind of a risky pick here. I just think it's a huge if, and I never like to be the guy with the, well, if they can get it clicking, it's like, well, they haven't. They can though. I know. I've
And
been
you've seen
watching
it.
these guys for years, and I know that they can get it clicking at some point. Will they? I don't know. Like I said, this is kind of a bold pick. I'm gonna take Steph Curry here and Klay Thompson in a 7-game series against the Thunder, who have very minimal experience. The Warriors have been there and done that. They've beaten teams like the Thunder. Steph Curry is still in his prime, absolutely killing it.
I'll play devil's advocate here though and say who's got the better coach?
Yeah. So not the Warriors. That's the biggest obstacle for the Warriors. And I could go on
Okay,
about that for
so
another hour and a
to go
half.
back at you a little bit. Look, I don't think you're wrong about the fact that can the Warriors do it? Yeah, I think when you look at the West, I think any of those. I don't think the Kings have a shot. And honestly, with the way I've seen the Clippers lately, I don't think they're going to go deep. I think those are probably the 2 teams that you can say probably aren't going to go deep.
Sure.
Now the Clippers could. I really think the Kings probably are the only ones you say don't have a chance at doing a deep run. And I think mostly of that is just because of their injuries. Because they're playing with 2 of their top 5 guys out, which
Yeah.
that's hard to do. Even when you're healthy, you're not the best team. So I think in the West anything's possible. But OKC very good at home. So the Warriors being a good road team might not bode well in OKC because they're a good home team. I think when you're on the floor, you've still got the best player at OKC, even though Curry can be. I think SGA is the best player on the floor when you come out. I think Curry's the next best player, but I think the bench you're probably looking at OKC. I don't see a path with the Warriors the way that I've seen them play out because I've watched them a lot this year too. I don't see a path for them beating Oklahoma City unless you're just going on the youth and the fact that they're young and the inexperienced.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has 100% been the best player. And like you said, spoiler alert, he might be my MVP as well. But
is he better than Curry over? Like, no, he's not. Curry's like one of the top 10 players of all time. But I'm just saying this season, SGA is the better player.
He has been better. But if I have to put my trust in one of them in a playoff series,
you haven't seen it with SGA yet. You're right.
That's kind of where my mindset's at. Listen, I didn't have it this way for all day for a reason. This is just kind of a spur of the moment.
I like that you can
here.
talk yourself into your team. I can't do that. I like even
I
the
can,
Giants today. I'm just like they're playing the Marlins and they were down 3. I'm just like
they won, but
I think this is a 6. I know they ended up coming back. I'm like I think this is a 65-70 win team. I mean the way that they are.
It's
just
different
don't.
because when it comes to the, I'll say this real fast, and then we'll move on to the regular season.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll kind of no, it's good. When it comes to the San Francisco Giants and the 49ers, I can't do that because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything. I'm essentially very pessimistic when it comes to those two teams. Well, okay, I'm talking about current Giants. Back then, Giants is a different
Oh
story.
yeah,
But
there's
we
no
got new
one left,
management,
right? There's no
so
one
I
left
just
from that
exactly.
team. We've seen
It's a
Bob
different
Melvin
time.
do great things as a coach, but he's
Sure.
never.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just different. So okay, that's kind of where I'm going. Is that I haven't seen it. I would never
You've
be
seen it
like
with the
do that with
Warriors.
the
I'm with
Niners.
you on that.
I seen it with the Dubs, and I
Kind
can
of like what
trust
we were
them.
saying with the Heat. We've seen the Heat
Exactly.
come alive in the playoffs. I think you're right. I mean, they've got a shot. I think you're right. I would take, even if I don't even have Warriors getting there, but I would still take the Thunder. But you got Warriors going. You got Warriors in round 2 then.
I got Warriors going to the finals. I'm just joking.
No, you
I'm
don't.
just joking. That's a joke. That's a lie. But okay, we're gonna move on. So yes, we both had. I had Warriors, Nuggets, Wolves, Mavericks. You had Thunder, Nuggets, Wolves, Mavericks, and
Yeah.
then I had Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, Magic. You had Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, Magic.
Right.
Am I right? Perfect. Good stuff.
I think you're
Okay.
right. So I got
I think
Thunder,
we got it there. Going to be a good
Thunder,
first round. Sorry. Were you going over
Thunder.
your pick?
I have Thunder, Mavs, Wolves, Nuggets. That's what you said, right?
I think so.
Am I
I
right
think I
about
said
that?
that. I think
Well,
so.
I'm trying to make sure I got my second round seeding right. I think I do.
I think
Yeah,
so.
Mavs are the 5. Yeah, it'd be them and okay. All right, go
There you
for it.
go. Okay. Let's do it. Next topic. Spoiler alert. Like he said earlier, we're going to go over all the awards right now. We're going to breeze through these awards because there are a lot of good ones here. The regular season awards in the NBA, we're going to go through them. We'll start with kind of the more ones, the ones that aren't as interesting, and we'll end with the MVP because that's the best one. Okay, Coach of the Year, Garrett. Who do you got for Coach of the Year?
I think Jamal Mosley's got a real shot at this in Orlando.
Sure.
He probably isn't. He probably isn't going to get it. I think. I think we're probably because Tibbs got New York to the 2 seed. I think it might be Tibbs. I don't have a great pulse on this. I'm going off a couple of things that I looked at today. I never totally understand. I mean, Mike Brown being Coach of the Year last year didn't even make sense to me because it was like, all right, so is it just the biggest surprise? Like who's done so? If it's based on like somebody who's outplayed the way that everybody thought they'd be. I mean, I think Jamal Mosley has been great there. So I think my pick, I'm just going to say Jamal Mosley because I think it'd be really cool if he got it. And I think going off how Mike Brown got it last year in Sacramento, Jamal Mosley's been pretty similar this year. So yeah, I'll go with Jamal Mosley.
Good. My pick, I got Chris Finch of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who kind of surprised me a little bit.
Oh yeah.
That was a pick that I had. I think there's a couple ways you could go with the Thunder's coach. You could go Orlando. I mean, like you said, the Coach of the Year, you kind of lean like which team made the biggest leap, like which team like the most unexpected leap, things like that. Or feels like is the criteria. But Finch here for the Timberwolves, you could go. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways, and honestly, it might go to OKC's coach. Honestly, who I am blanking of Oklahoma City's coach. It's that foreign dude. But anyways, he could totally win it too. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that you know what? That's probably a good bet. 'Cause I mean, getting them to the 1 seed that might push him over the top.
That might be
Mark. What's it? I can't even.
Mark. I'm blanking. This is terrible.
I'm not going to try to say his last name. Dejno.
You guys know who we're talking about. Dejno.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's probably
okay.
That's probably going to be it. You're right. Now that they got the 1 seed, you're right.
One of them. Probably that. Okay. Next one. The second time this out in the history of basketball, the clutch player of the year. Last year went to De'Aaron Fox. This year, it went to your guy last year, and it's going to go to my guy this year. I got Steph Curry winning clutch player of the year this season. Led the league in clutch points, 189. Led the league in clutch 3-pointers made. By the way, I think what they classify as clutch is the last 5 minutes of a game that is within 5 points. So if you're scoring in those situations, then it counts as a clutch point. Steph had 32 clutch 3-pointers this season. Second place was Buddy Hield with 13. So he had 19 more than the second place guy. Steph Curry was everywhere in the clutch moments. He shut down the entire Steph is in clutch narrative. That's just bogus to begin with. But I'm going to give it to Steph Curry, leading clutch scorer, leading in 3 points made, shooting ridiculously efficiently 45% in clutch moments from three. I'm going to go Steph on this one. But there's a
I'm going to
couple
have a hard
guys who
time
might go,
arguing
but
against you because of the numbers that you had here. I'm not that prepared with this.
I did pull
Besides the
some
fact
numbers
that
for that one.
my pick for this is DeMar DeRozan. Because I think I'm trying to look this up so I don't sound like a moron. I think they had more clutch games this year than anybody else. It
Mm-hmm.
was, I feel like I remember at one point somebody saying half their games were all considered clutch.
That's wild. I
So
think the
okay, they were
Warriors.
24 and 16 in the clutch. So they had 40 games that qualified for that.
Mhm.
They went 7-3 in overtime, and I think DeRozan's the reason why. So
Fair.
I went with DeRozan, but I can't argue with you because I don't have all the numbers like you pulled out. I just had a pick.
I did pull up a couple numbers for that one. Got to back up Steph. Okay. Most improved here. Who you got for most improved player?
Most improved player. I think Kobe White.
Good one.
I really like Kobe White.
That's
I think
good pick.
Scotty Barnes would have been those were kind of my guys. I like the guys I was trying to pick between. I really like Scotty Barnes. That's probably a good bet just because I mean he made such a jump this year, and I was disappointed in him
Mhm.
last year. So it was nice to see how well he did. But I think I just ended up saying Kobe White.
That's a good pick. You can't go wrong. Kobe White's a good pick. I went Tyrese Maxey. Went
Oh
from
yeah.
solid role. I mean, not role player because you could tell he was like kind of emerging last season, but went from pretty solid player to freaking all-star. Was so good this season. Jumped up in points, up like from 20 to 26. He was really good. So I got Tyrese Maxey as my most improved player.
Yeah.
Next, sixth
I
man
wouldn't
of the
argue
year.
that. I'm going with
Who's your sixth
Malik.
man? Good
I'm going
call.
with Malik.
I
I
went too.
think that dude off the bench. I mean, I think he also shows how important he is with how bad the Kings have been since he's been out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he should have been a starter all year. I think that was one of those things where everybody, especially Kings fans, were all just like, "Why are we not starting Malik over Kevin Herter?" Because
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Herter was so bad for a majority of the year, where it was just like, I think I texted you at one point. I'm like, it looks like this guy forgot how to play basketball. Now, I
Yeah.
think Mike Brown's system, the way that Mike Brown was using him, probably wasn't helping him at all. The
Mm-hmm.
emphasis on defense, Kevin Herter's not a good defender, and if
Mm-hmm.
he's exhausting so much energy over there, so it was one of those things where it was like Malik should have been starting, but he was the sixth man this year, and I think to me, I don't think it's close. Um, Looking around at other things, it looks like Naz Reid's got some steam with this too, but
Yeah.
I think for me, it's got to be Malik because it was like watching that dude in the fourth quarter win some games for the Kings. It was like this is the sixth man. So
Perfect. Same thing here. I went Malik. Not much more to say. You pretty much nailed it. Naz Reid seems like he's had a really good year this season coming off the bench for Minnesota, but I'm gonna go Malik with you as well.
yeah.
Okay, defensive player of the year. It's kind of an interesting one.
And then Naz Reid, I don't even know the qualifications for six man. Did Naz Reid start the whole time Cat was out?
I don't know the qualifications either because he must have started, but he's still eligible.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know
All
how.
right.
I don't know the qualifications though, but I know he's
Yeah.
still eligible.
Eligible.
But okay, eligible. Defensive player of the year.
I'm going to
Kind of a two-man race here, people are saying, but it could just be a one-man race
Yeah,
in some
I'm
people's
sure
eyes.
Rudy Gobert is going to get it. But I just have never seen guys U-turn the way they do when they see Wembanyama down there. And
I
I mean,
know.
his block numbers are insane. Um,
Insane.
I'm just like, I mean, they're probably going to give it to Gobert because I think Gobert, if now again, I've said this too many times. I've told you this before. I don't watch enough of the modern NBA to have great takes with this. So I'm sure if you've got people listening to this, listen to me talk, they're like, this guy's a moron. Sure. I don't watch enough and I don't read enough. And it's just not what I mean, I'm not using all of my time to do that. But when I've seen Wembanyama play, it's just like I don't know what you do with this. And there's that viral clip going around right now that's it's a 3-on-1 and they're just passing it back and forth and they finally get it out to the three and he still contests the three and it's like I don't know what you do with this guy on defense. He's
Fair.
so stinking long. He's a smart basketball player.
Yeah.
Now I think it's going to end up going to Rudy Gobert though. I don't think they're going to give it to a rookie. I think Gobert having a team that actually has succeeded says a lot. Now, granted, he's got a better team than Wembanyama does, but ultimately, I think it's going to go to Rudy Gobert.
So Victor Wembanyama's, like you brought up, his block stats unreal. Average 3.6 blocks as a rookie,
It's
literally insane.
It's insane.
Led the league in blocks with 254 for the span of the season. I am going Rudy Gobert here though, and the biggest reason for the number one defensive rating in the league, and it wasn't super duper close, but Rudy Gobert absolutely changed the way that the Minnesota Timberwolves have played defense. Karl-Anthony Towns being that center for years, their defense was just horrific. And now Rudy Gobert struts in, and he's leading them to the number one defensive rating. I got to go
And they
Rudy
weren't
Gobert.
great last year. So it was like, I doubted him. And then now now they figured it out. And
doing great. So I'm going to go Rudy Gobert, but Victor Wembanyama.
I'm not going to be upset if Victor Wembanyama wins it. I just think it's going to be Gobert. I don't think they're going to, because I think, okay, so going into the next category, I'm guessing is Rookie of the Year. I don't think they're going to give Rookie of the Year to Wembanyama and Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think it's going to go both. So I think Rookie of the Year, he's run away for Rookie of the Year. Totally. But 100%. If he's Rookie of the Year, I can't see them giving Defensive Player of the Year when Gobert's team has been that good on defense. Because I think there's a lot to be said about the team defense too when you're a part of that. So, but yeah, Rookie of the Year, I think that's easily Victor Wembanyama. You can make a case for Chet, but easy. I mean, Chet's a awesome.
Small case.
And good for Chet playing all 82. By the way, that's good for him. Everybody thought he was going to be an injury. Oh, my kids are yelling at each other. Hold on. I knew that was going to happen.
We'll wrap up here in a minute. And you can get 10 to it. We'll hit the last award because I think it's easily Victor Wembanyama. The MVP, the really fun one. I think it's a 3-man race here with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic. I think you hinted at who your pick is. You got Shai?
I'm going to pick Shai because of his defense. I think he plays the whole game.
Love it, dude.
Am I going to argue if they pick Jokic? I think Jokic and Luka. To be fair, I don't really love watching Luka anymore, only because literally every play, it's like somebody kidnapped one of his kids and he's throwing his hands up and crying. And it's just how he is. And I just don't like it. I love Luka as a player. Just that part of it drives me nuts. And then I think the defense, Shai, SGA, like I said, I'm straight. And for me to be saying at the end of the year that I think he's the MVP says a lot, because I wasn't not that I wasn't a fan of him. I just didn't think he was. I honestly thought he was more on the level of De'Aaron Fox at the beginning of the year, and I was just wrong. And I think he deserves it. I don't think he'll get it. I think it's going to be one of those two guys, probably Jokic. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But my pick was SGA.
I think it's going to go to Jokic as well, but my pick is also Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And like you brought up the defense, that was my biggest thing too. He's the best defender of the three. Dude's an elite defender, does absolutely everything, leads his team to the 1 seed in the West. My pick was Shai. He was my pick at the beginning of the year, and it turned out to be pretty solid of a pick. Will he win it? I don't know. I do think if I had to put money on it,
being the 1 seed could sway some people. I mean, the fact that they pulled that off could sway that.
I saw a little photo graphic on Twitter of like 10 of the voters who released articles on who they think is winning MVP, who should, and 10 of the 11 of those guys said Jokic, and one of them said Luka. Now there's like 110 voters, but those guys
are all surprises me that nobody said SGA.
Kind of weird. I don't know, but we'll see. That's obviously not the whole story.
Yeah.
Anyways, those are our award predictions for the NBA regular season, and that'll do it for this show. Garrett, really, really appreciate you coming on, dude. Right on.
Yeah, man. No problem, dude. Anytime you want to chat basketball, let's do it.
Yeah, 100% we will. That was a lot of fun. We'll have you on again soon. Everyone out there listening, thank you. You know, you can find us on social media, on Instagram at thenightshift.pod, on TikTok at thenightshiftpod, and on Twitter at thenightshift, 2 T's at the beginning, 2 T's at the end of that. Wherever you're listening to this, you can leave a review, a rating. You can like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, at the Night Shift Pod on YouTube. There you can listen and leave any sort of review, any sort of comments for us. Let us know how we did. Be honest, and let us know if you enjoyed it, and let us know what you want us to talk about next. Anybody want to come on the show, you know, you can contact me on all those socials, and you can hop on yourself. Again, Garrett, appreciate you coming on, and everybody out there listening, appreciate you. You must have enjoyed something, so be sure to leave a like. We got a big game coming up tomorrow, and really excited for it, man. So me and Garrett we'll be talking during that game, I'm sure. So again, Garrett, thank you.
All right,
that'll be it for me. I'm out. Peace.